think when we do something like that.
What's up, fight fans? This is the Combat Connection. We are live on the Cageside Press social media platforms. We have a full show for you guys today, starting with the UFC Fight Night card from England last week with Lerone, Murphy, and Movsar Evloev determining the number one contender to face Alexander Volkanovski. Eddie, what did you make of the main event last week between the two undefeated fighters?
Expected. That's the only thing you really come up with, right? Expected. What did you think was going to happen? What? I was going to say Lerone Murphy, not Lerone Murphy. What I always mix them up, dude? Leon, not Lerone Murphy. I thought I was going to say Leon Edwards. Jesus Christ.
You got it. Yeah. I do that too.
Take your vitamins, folks. When you turn 40, start forgetting everything. Yeah, no, look, but Lerone Murphy is going to turn into a Dagestani wrestler overnight. That was not going to happen. We knew that. What was awesome was seeing Movsar have the guts to stand with him, right? Like, we don't see a lot of guys do that. Not a lot of wrestlers, not a lot of grapplers are actually like, all right, do whatever. I'm going to show you, I got hands now. Other than Marab has done it, I think once or twice. Islam has better hands than anyone can really understand, in my opinion. But Movsar really impressed me. He showed it. I was like, all right, dude, now you didn't get the finish. All right, we still need some finishes from you, Mr. I want to finish, right? But great step forward. And really, what else does he have to do? What else does he have to do to finally get that shot?
Yeah, one of the longer win streaks we've seen before someone's gotten a title opportunity. Destiny, how excited are you to see him face Alexander Volkanovski?
I don't think that he's going to have really much for Alex. I think Alex is going to kind of just play with him. Honestly, I don't see him standing against Alex at all. What do you guys think? Do you really think he has a chance with that?
I think it's going to be a tough one. Like, Alex's takedown defense is as good as it gets, and then if it does stay standing, like, I don't know, we saw Lerone Murphy win some spots too. Pat, what did you think about this one? And there was a point deduction in there as well that I haven't mentioned yet. What did you think about the point deduction immediately there from Mark Goddard? Kind of was a big difference in this fight. Some people had to score a draw because of it.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't hate it if it was the precedent, but we know it's not going to be the precedent going forward. It was 2 low blows and then a point deduction. That's how it worked normally. I would have no problem with it. But we know that's not how it works. We've seen guys get fouled 3, sometimes maybe even close to 4 times without a point being taken. So the fact that it was twice and Goddard was so quick to take the point, I didn't love that. But if that's a precedent they're going to set, I don't have a problem with it. Otherwise, I thought it was a good fight. Good performance out of Movsar. I actually scored it 4-1 for Movsar. Thought he won rounds 1, 3, 4, and 5. But I know a lot of people didn't agree with that. So it really just depends. I know the judges kind of did see it that way, and that's why he got the win. But I don't think a draw is a bad scorecard at all. I did find it surprising how many people scored the fight for Murphy, though. I feel like there's a decent amount of people that scored it for Murphy, and I just didn't see that happening, even with the point deduction.
Yeah, I didn't see that happening either. I thought the fight could have been scored a draw, given that it was in Murphy's home country there. I thought maybe he would get some favorable scorecards, but went the other way. Eddie, to Destiny's question, how excited are you to see Evloev versus Volkanovski, and do you think he stands a legitimate chance here against Alex?
Come on, dog. Come on, man. That little ass freaking Australian is going to work him. What does Alexander Volkanovski do? He takes your strength and then smacks you over the head with it. What has he done to every guy he's fought? He takes their strength and smacks them over the head with it. It's not going to be a fun fight, I don't think. I think it's going to be Alexander going, all right, cool. My wrestling against yours. And, he'll put hands on him a little bit here and there. Sure, absolutely. But it's going to be a Volkanovski just this clinic, man. Because, again, even now, he's older and everything, got more miles on his body. Clearly, all the, the extra champion miles. Whoever doesn't really understand what that means the extra media, the appearances, the flights here and there just to be at a UFC show so they can put you on camera for 5 seconds and then take you off, right? That all adds up to a fighter. Volkanovski has been probably one of the best to ever handle that kind of pressure. So he's going to come in, he's going to smack him up a little bit, move on to the next one. And then they're already calling Volkanovski the GOAT. You know what I mean? At 45.
And to your point about championship experience, this is the first time Evloev's gone 5 rounds, right? So Alexander Volkanovski, to my knowledge, I don't think has been less than 5 rounds since Chad Mendes. So that's been quite a long time. So like you're saying, championship experience there. He's been the 5 rounds. He's accustomed to it. No problems there, obviously, with his trilogy and Max doing that multiple times. But guys, we've got to move on down the card here. There were 3 fights in a row that ended this card by decision. Some of them more entertaining than others, but Luke Riley was able to get the job done versus Michael Aswell Jr. this weekend. I thought Luke Riley did a really good job of showcasing his technical striking. He's one of these guys from England coming up, trains with Paddy Pimblett. I think he has a bright future, Pat. Were you impressed? Here's the thing, though, guys, because when they put the young kid in there against a guy like Michael Aswell, who all credit to him, he's a tough guy, but came in there 10-3 record. They kind of set this up for Riley to have a big win. He did get the unanimous decision victory here, but Pat, given his potential and what some people think he's going to do in the future, do you think he might have should have gotten Michael out of there?
Aswell's a tough guy. I feel like if they really wanted him to get Aswell out of there, they wouldn't have put him against Aswell. You know, he's a tough guy that can take a lot of big punches. We've seen that in the past. I mean, he fought Balajioki, who we know is a massive guy and really a true lightweight. And Aswell hung him in there with him for all 3 rounds. Riley isn't a bad fighter at all. I really don't have any stock down based on this performance. If anything, it might have even been a bit stock up for me because he was able to do it over the course of 3 rounds, win all 3 rounds, and look great. So I don't know. Maybe the UFC wanted the finish, but I feel like it was pretty unlikely in a spot like this against a really tough guy. I thought Riley looked great, though.
What did you think of the young prospect from England, Eddie?
This kid's got work. He's got to, you know, he's gonna have the ability. He's gonna grow. Okay, but he's one of those guys that came in with a little bit of fanfare, a little bit of hype. Honestly, I was excited to see him. I watched the fight after the fact, and I expected a little more from him, but impressed that he did what he did in the co-main event. It's not easy to come in a co-main after being prelim for who knows how long, right? So that showed 2 things. 1, the UFC kind of knows what they have in him. They're hopeful for him, but 2, they're hoping to, if forget the expression, to shove him down the UK's throat so he can be their next hero, right? The same way they're shoving O'Malley down everyone's throat by giving him a shit fight, easy fight at the Epstein fights. Either way, is what it is.
Yeah, Destiny, that was my next question really was like, do you think that they're going to make Luke Riley the new star for England when they come over for the fight night cards? He trains with Paddy. Do you see him kind of being used by that same trajectory?
Yes, definitely. He's like a little mini Patty in there. I think the way he walks and you know, just like his whole persona. So I think they're loving that. They're eating it up, and they're definitely gonna feed that to the fans for sure.
Fight fans, you'll have to look out for Luke Riley as he progresses in his career. But we did have Michael Venom Page taking on Sam Patterson. And guys, this was not the most entertaining fight that we've ever seen. I was watching the Joe Rogan fight companion he had on there, and he wasn't impressed with what was going on either. And I think that the real problem was this is that they were teammates, and Patterson had a familiarity with Michael Venom Page's style. And we've seen in the past when teammates fight each other, it might not be the most entertaining thing for the fight fans altogether. Pat, what did you think about MVP? He was on the last fight of his deal here, becomes a free agent. Do you think the UFC brings him back? And what did you make of the performance against Sam Patterson?
I think they'll probably bring him back because he's a big name, but not because this performance was a good performance. You know, it was a rough fight. I mean, Sam Patterson landed 4 strikes to the head in 15 minutes. You know, it's just like in a 15-minute fight, it's just tough to have someone across from you that's not really willing to engage. I saw someone bring up the point, like, you know, they've trained together. They are very familiar with each other. Maybe they agreed to have a sparring match, and I honestly wouldn't be shocked because it's basically all it was, you know, 27 total significant strikes to 12 in this fight. I mean, mostly on the feet too. I mean, I know Patterson held him up against the clinch a little bit, but there was like not much of anything that happened in this fight. Nothing significant happened in this fight. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be crazy shocked, I guess, if they just didn't renew the contract with MVP after this. It's probably making decent money, but he also is MVP and he still has the name. So put him against a better opponent. Maybe something different will happen. I mean, his other performances in the past were better than this. So I don't know. I think that the matchup was just weird in the first place, and I don't know what they really expected here.
Destiny and Eddie, you guys both have combat experience here. Is it different fighting a teammate than, you know, fighting someone you have absolutely, you know, no clue who they are?
I have not fought a teammate yet, but I would assume yes, because you've moved with them, you understand, kind of their style, things like that. So I could definitely see it why it seemed and probably looked like and felt like for them a sparring match for sure. But I don't know. I feel like it's at the same time, like you gotta turn that shit off and handle business.
Yeah, is that kind of how you see it too, Eddie?
It was easier for me just because like it sucks beforehand and it sucks afterwards, especially if you lose, right? But it sucks afterwards. But during, he's like, motherfucker, bro, I spar you all. I'm gonna smack the shit out you. I talk more shit to my teammates than anybody else, brother. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But the biggest takeaway from this fight for me, all right, it was before the fight. All right, all I gotta say is that they don't really care about us. MVP walked out to that song, sending a message to everybody. Okay, that
You're right.
had to do 100% with the way the world is right now. 100%, right? You can apply to anything, but 15 million for one dude to come into Zuffa boxing. If you think that the UFC fighters aren't pissed beyond belief about that, MVP is the only one with the huevos to freaking say something about it. He did a whole ass walkout about it. He stared into the soul and the eyes of the camera. He stared into everybody's soul. Said every word on the song, and then went into the fight and showed you, all right, cool. The performance is going to be on par with the pay, baby. You better pay up. You want to see some MVP? That's the way I took it.
That's not a bad way to look at it for sure. I guess, yeah. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they don't re-sign him.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. 38 years old too. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
They're gonna save money. They can bring in other people. Pay them a couple fighters, paying them way less that equals to the amount they're probably paying him.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And they've been saving a lot of money. You just mentioned, Eddie, the $15 million that they gave to Conor Benn. They couldn't even give that to John Jones, or wouldn't give that to John Jones, the greatest fighter in the history of our sport. So kind of an unwillingness to pay there, and they don't want those floodgates to open, in my opinion. But I could see them getting rid of Michael Venom Page. But, guys, there was a fight right before this that was entertaining. This guy's all action. Iwo Baraniewski took care of Austin Lane. 6'6" at the light heavyweight division was Austin Lane, moving down from heavyweight. But that was no problem here for Iwo. Second finish in the first round after stopping Ibo Aslan in that fight of the year contender last year. Eddie, what do you think about this guy? He's all action, seems like a marauder. He's got a judo background too. We haven't even really seen the grappling yet.
Hold on. I got you. It's so hard. Oh, you can't see the flame. How is the flame not on there? No shit. It's so hard to say goodbye to Austin Lane. It's game. I get it, brother. You lost all that weight, got down to 205. Proud of you, my boy. That is awesome. But you ran to the wrong motherfucker. Iwo is oh, dude, that was fun as hell, dude. And that was a quick fight. Like, I know it's 28 seconds, right? He Tysoned them, right? It was beautifully done. If you want to make a name for yourself, do that shit right there, over and over and over again. And if this is how he's gonna fight from now on, hey, put him on the main card every time. You'll win.
What'd you think about this one, Destiny?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It was fast, and he made the most out of his moment at that time and gained a lot of momentum. It's a great way for him to introduce himself to the division,
Pat, is there anybody that you'd like to see him fight next? There's a lot of all-action fighters up there, Johnny Walker, guys like that would probably make pretty interesting matchups for Iwo. Is there anybody that you're like, I got to see Iwo fight this guy at some point?
I don't know. There's definitely a couple names that would be really interesting, just guys that are, kind of like him and just like first round finishers. But there's probably no one like too in particular. Like I'd like to see maybe like him and Navajo Sterling a bit down the line, because Navajo Sterling's a guy I really like at light heavyweight, but he's been boring, like not too boring, but he just hasn't been getting the finishes that he was expected to get going into the UFC. And I feel like Iwo would force him to finish or get finished. So I feel like that fight like that would be perfect down the line though.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Like you're saying, I think he would make him, fight aggressively or defend himself, because he's this forward pressure that he's shown in the last two fights is just something we don't see very often. But guys, Christian Leroy Duncan defeated Roman Dolidze by unanimous decision here. We were kind of all over this, me and Pat, last week. Thought he would kind of kickbox him from range, and he did do that. There were some times where Roman Dolidze was able to get him onto the ground in this fight, won one round on the judges' scorecards here. Eddie, what did you think about the performance from CLD?
He definitely beat my Red Bull. I thought I was fucking falling asleep, drank a Red Bull to stay awake and everything. And he beat that shit. I'm not saying it was a complete boring fight. I am saying, what the hell, bro? Like, look, Delize seemed like he wanted to pull guard the whole time. That's what it looked to me. And a lot of people didn't really have that take. I mean, whatever. But as someone that trains jiu-jitsu and everything, I'm just like, that looks like a guard pull repeatedly, going for the leg locks every single time, driving under, underhook on the leg, trying to get him down. Like, brother, what are we doing here? Like, it's not going to work. CLD stopped all those attacks. Try something different. Roman didn't. He just didn't. And he's a hairy bastard. Dude. That was hilarious. I was like, man, what guys? That came in with a coat. That's not going to help you, dude. Actually, no. I take it back. It does help you. All right. Quick story. First tournament I ever did. Dude comes in and you were allowed to not wear a rash guard for some reason. Gross. But either way, not wear a rash guard and shit.
Ew.
And dude he was hairy as fuck, dude. All right. And I'm trying to grab him and take him down, and I'm slipping. And I'm like, what the bro? Like, what are you doing? He starts laughing his ass. I'm like, all right, double leg your bitch ass. I'm gonna hold you on the ground. Now I'm gonna make this boring. Fuck you. But either way, yeah, that was weird. But overall, the fight, can I say nobody won? I mean, did anybody win here? Did anyone gain anything out of this fight?
What did you think of this one, Pat?
I agree with Eddie. I don't think anyone won this fight. CLD was supposed to look a lot better against Delize, especially Delize that only wanted to guard pull and just sit on his back. I mean, Delize landed 10 significant strikes, and CLD still didn't have a good performance. It was just so sloppy. Like, I feel like I wasn't paying as much attention to this fight as I could have, but every time I looked up, I just saw some sloppy ass exchange, and I was like, you know what? That's why I'm not watching. It makes sense now. So I don't know. For someone like CLD, who we expect to be like a technical, precise striker, it was rough to watch him kind of flop around with Delize in some of these moments. It just wasn't a great look at all.
Yeah, I agree with what both you and Eddie said. And the two fights before this one, it's kind of like hard because it set that bar with the Danny Silva knockout. And then we're going to talk about Axel Sola and Mason Jones. But that was a great fight, and it set the bar so high starting off. And then we had these 3 decisions in a row. Is kind of disappointing. But the Danny Silva knockout, Destiny, what did you think about that? He was able to stop Curtis Campbell, who was a highly hyped guy coming over from England, a jiu-jitsu guy as well, good submissions on the ground. Danny Silva got him out of there in the second round. What do you think about that?
I thought he looked great. And I think he definitely showed killer instinct once the momentum shifted. I thought it was a great performance for him, and yeah, definitely a good fight for sure.
Yeah, and so the thing about this one, Pat, what do you think about Curtis Campbell? Everybody was high on him, the Pink Panther. He's coming out all eccentric. What do you think about his prospects moving forward, obviously after getting stopped by Danny Silva?
First off, I think they're not going to give anyone their own color shorts anymore in their UFC debut or anything like that. They gave him the pink shorts because he's the Pink Panther, and now he gets starched. It's like, damn, that stinks, because now none of these guys are going to get cool shorts anymore earlier in their UFC careers. You're going to need to be a star like Sean O'Malley. But for Curtis Campbell, I mean, this was a rough matchup up for him. Just even before the fight, this was a tougher debut. He looked great in round 1 too. I thought he clearly won round 1. He looked good, got his grappling going a little bit, but I did think that if he stood on the feet for a little bit too long with Silva, that he was going to pay the price, but I didn't expect it to be as quick as it was. Silva looked great in this fight. Very precise, very strong punches. Like, he kind of had a reputation a little bit, or was growing a reputation, that he was a little bit more pillow-fisted heading into this fight. That's not at all what we saw here. He put it on Campbell, dropped him twice, got the finish. I mean, it was a really good performance from Danny Silva. I'm not fully out on Campbell yet, just because, like I said, tougher opponent to debut against, but not a good look by any means.
Axel Sola and Mason Jones. Eddie, Mason Jones, since his return to the promotion, has been in just absolute all-action bangers. Jeremy Stevens in Des Moines, Iowa, and then obviously got a knockout win before this weekend. But this one goes to decision against Axel Sola, who was debuting. And these guys really put on a show. This was the best performance, in my opinion, on the whole card, fight of the night. Eddie, what did you think about this one?
Can we get Mason Jones on every card? Can we just do that? Just every weekend, let this boy fight? Talk about bringing the action and not giving a shit about how it went. Great. Honestly, it's good to see Mason. Think about the way Mason Jones has run his career. Was in the UFC, left the UFC, didn't resign, could have left, went back to, was it Cage Warriors? Developed some more. I don't know if you guys watched his Cage Warrior fights. He looked better than ever. Came back, mature, ready to go with the right mindset, head on his shoulders. Great time to come back. Great strategy. I don't know who came up with it. It was him or his managers or somebody, but great strategy for him. Real quick on my boy Danny Silva. Put some respect on my boy. Damn, like the disrespect on Danny Silva. Fuck out of here, pillow head. Fuck out of here. I know you didn't say it, Pat, but I think we've been saying that shit forever. Danny Silva is a dog. Those bloodline boys out of California, out of Costa Mesa. All right, we're talking Richie Miranda, Chris McCate, Danny Silva, Rafa Garcia, and the man, the coach, the legend, the captain, Cub Swanson about to fight his retirement fight. Dude, put some respect on those bloodline boys, all right? Goddamn, like, what do they got to do? They got to kill somebody? I mean, not literally. Just relax with that shit. But either way, like, they got to end everybody. Fuck out of here, all right? But my boy Mason Jones, he turned me into a fan. I was not a Mason Jones fan before. Before I was like, oh, whatever. He's just putting him on because it's a UK card. No. Put him on as many cards as you can. That kid can scrap.
Yep. Destiny, what did you think about this fight?
Yeah, I thought it was an absolute banger. Definitely a good scrap. I didn't get to catch all of it. I was kind of in and out. I was doing interviews this day, so I was watching them when I can, but I was able to catch a little bit of this one, and it was definitely a good scrap for sure.
All right, guys, before we move on from this card, Pat, we got to talk a little bit about Mario Pinto. Me and you were really high on him last week. We thought, he'd go in there and dispatch of Felipe Franco, but this one went to a decision. He did lose a round in here as well. I got to tell you, I think that the stock of Mario Pinto did fall a little bit after his performance last weekend. What did you think about a guy who you said last week was one of your favorite heavyweight prospects?
No, he was my favorite heavyweight prospect, and I don't know. Like, it was a rough performance, but I'm not ready to say he's like not my favorite heavyweight prospect yet. I don't know. It was weird. I wasn't happy with this performance. He was just so passive for so long. You thought at some point, okay, he's going to turn it up now. And he's finally going to start to put it on Franco a bit, especially as he gasped when the fight got a bit later. But he didn't. He just kept going back to these takedowns that had such low success throughout the fight. He just wasn't getting them. Then he finally did get a great takedown, got into kind of like a side control, maybe half guard, and then Franco just reversed him and stood right up. And at that point, he should have stopped shooting, but he just kept shooting on the cage, going for the control. I don't know. This definitely wasn't an impressive performance, especially that Franco's now like saying he's going to go back down to 205. So like, against a light heavyweight who I'm also just not very high on in general, the fact that Pinto struggled this much wasn't a good look. So I don't know if it was an off performance. I don't know what it was, but it's definitely tough gauge of where Mario Pinto's at this point, because this should have been someone he was able to walk over.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was thinking about as I was like rethinking about the fight was he didn't look in the same shape that I've seen him in come previously, and I don't know if maybe he had an injury or something which led to that, and maybe lack of activity, but who knows? We'll have to keep an eye on Mario Pinto moving forward. Stays undefeated, although with the win over Felipe Franco. Now, guys, the PFL has had cards as well. Costello von Steenis knocked out Fabian Edwards last week. Fabian Edwards was caught in a situation where he was going for a takedown against Costello von Steenis. Von Steenis hits him with an elbow on the side of the head, and he drops unconscious. Eddie, were you able to take a look at the PFL card from last week?
PFL didn't even tell me they were having a fucking card. Get out of here with that shit. John Martin, brother, I know you won on the Nosy show. Good for you. Congratulations that you're going to rebrand and all that shit. Can you tell us when you're actually going to have a goddamn event? Like, why do I got to hear about it from like the tech? Hey, bro, you watching this fight?
You can't watch it. I tried to watch it, Eddie, and
you can't even watch it. All right, so step one right there. All right, step one. Second, I had to go through different sources to watch the damn fight. Okay, and I had to watch it after the fact. Damn, I feel bad for Fabian, dude. I thought he was going to grab this one, but Steenis is a dog, dude. He's good. You can't knock him. Little lucky, but good.
Yeah, and to your point about not even being able to see the fights and stuff, it's hard for the media to be able to cover it correctly and this sort of thing when we don't even know how to watch it. Right now, it's behind a $19.99 a month paywall on ESPN Plus, but it is. I tried to watch them last weekend, and they're trying to make me pay more than my normal subscription. From $9.99 to $30 a month, so it made me pay the difference. But
they got to be able to afford coach, bro. They got to be able to afford coach to not answer questions.
Yeah. The smart cage is taking all the money from them. Pat and Destiny, what do you guys think about the current state of the PFL? I think that they are putting on good fights. Costello is a hell of a fighter. They do have good fighters out there. Nurmagomedov, Paul Hughes did just get injured from that Belfast card. So I know John Martin came on right before the show today and said that is going to be scrapped. And I think they have Reese McKee moving up to the co-main. But Destiny and Pat, what do you guys think about the PFL currently right now?
You can go first.
I think PFL's looking good, honestly. They've got some good talent, that they're starting to showcase, and I feel like they've been a little quiet with some things too. So I think we can expect a couple good cards this year. Circling back to Edwards, that sucked. That one sucked. I was going for Edwards for sure. I really thought he was going to get it done. Did you feel like those shots were to the back of the head? I seen some people saying that the shots were to the back of the head for sure. A lot of opinions.
Gotta be close. Got to be close. The one fight I do remember ending that way, Travis Brown was great with those elbows in his UFC run, and he knocked out Josh Barnett. That was the first time I ever really saw that move done like to finish a fight. And I don't know. That's a hard one to call, right? Because the whole elbow is going over the back of like the side of the head.
Those back of the head knockouts are crazy. They really because the way he went to sleep, he was just like folded, And I seen that last weekend when I was covering Tough Enough. Renato Canuto, he was getting teed up, man, and he just landed a sneaky shot. And honestly, I had to watch it over and over and over to see what he even hit him with. And I still honestly don't think I've seen it completely. But yeah, it was a back of the head shot for sure. And the guy just folded. Those are scary, crazy knockouts, quick.
To be fair to Canuto, though, like the guy ducked his head. He didn't mean to hit him in the back of the head. Like,
No, for sure. Oh, I'm a big fan of Canuto, and I was so happy to see him, be able to put like that dog inside him on display for sure.
But
what are your thoughts on PFL?
For Steenis Edwards, I mean, I don't know. Like, it kind of reminded me of Alex versus Yuri, the elbow knockout. I was there for that. I was in the crowd for that fight, and it just kind of reminded me of when AP landed those elbows when he was clenched up with Yuri, and Yuri went out, and everyone was like, what happened? The only difference here is Fabian was out. Like, there's no question, because Yuri was kind of rocked a little bit. Like, there was like a little bit of controversy at the time with that. I kind of think it blew over once people realized what happened. But Costello put him out with those elbows. I don't know how close they were to the back of the head. It definitely looked close, but I feel like they would have reviewed that and maybe called it a no contest or something if it was. I think he probably just landed like right behind the ear, if anything, maybe a little bit close. Probably like one or two of those were back of the head, but I don't know. I thought Costello, like, I don't know. He's pretty good, right? Like he beat Eblen and now he KOs Fabian like that. I mean, I didn't expect this much from Costello, to be honest. He's definitely surprised me with the way his career has went, and it seems like he's being built into one of the PFL's bigger stars now. So I guess he's just got to keep winning, but we got to see that rematch with Eblen next, in my opinion.
Yeah, the rematch with Eblen's got to be next for him. And like you said, he's had two big stoppage wins over two of the biggest names that they acquired from Bellator. This guy's really making a name for himself right now. And honestly, if he came over to 185 pounds in the UFC, I think he'd do quite well. So I think he's one of the best talented fighters in the world. So be sure to tune in next time he fights. But one of the other big stars that they are building in the PFL is Pittsburgh's own Dalton Rosta, who will be headlining this weekend versus Impa Kasanganay, a very interesting middleweight fight at 185 pounds there. There is another fight on that card as well.
Rosta's the co-main. Eblen and Battle's the main.
Johnny Eblen. Yep. And we're talking about Eblen. What if Brian Battle goes in there and gets the job done this weekend too? Battle, who's riding an impressive win streak since leaving the UFC as well.
Yeah, no, that'd be an interesting one. I mean, either way, I think the winner of that fight deserves the next fight against Costello, almost no matter what, unless it's like, I guess, insanely boring. But I just don't see a way that a Brian Battle Johnny Eblen fight could be that bad. Battle was 7-1 in the UFC. He had a great UFC record. He had hit the top 15 at some point. And like, I don't know, like Battle looked really good. And Eblen, we know Eblen was thought of as one of the best fighters outside of the UFC for a while. So this should be a great fight, honestly. I can't wait for this one. And then the Rosta Impa fight. Impa has been on a bit of a skid. I know he got a win back, but it was over Andrew Sanchez. And I don't know. I don't rate a win over Andrew Sanchez too highly in 2025. Not that he's awful, but just older, and Impa got back in the win column. So hopefully it boosted his confidence a bit. I think a Rosta and him fight should be a banger. I think these guys should definitely go to war.
Boys, real quick. We have a star in the midst right here. All right. A star who's actually going to compete here in a little bit. All right. Destiny becomes, she's got to go do some interviews, and she's not doing the interview. She's being interviewed. So,
so sorry, guys. I got to do a quick interview with Slap News. I just wanted to jump on for a little bit with you guys as long as I could, but thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Have a good interview.
Sorry, I got to leave. I'll see you guys soon.
See you soon.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, Eddie, we got Dalton Rosta returning here this weekend. I don't know if did you guys see the face-offs that came out today?
No, I didn't.
Wild. They sit there and the guy's like, all right, turn around. And they're sitting there staring at each other, Impa and Rosta, for like 3.5 minutes on Instagram. It's got a lot of traction right now, but pretty intense. Eddie, how impressed are you with this card that John Martin built? And are you interested in what the PFL is producing this weekend?
I'm actually going to try to watch this if he doesn't make it fucking impossible. I'm going to try. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to try, right? No, dude, the whole card's actually it actually looks entertaining. Eblen battle, like I'm not a big Eblen guy. I'm just not, but Brian Battle's going to make him scrap real hard, I think. And then afterwards, if he wins, like, what is it? Is this thing, you know what I'm saying, or not me? Is it not I'm saying, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Over and over again. If I was Brian Battle, I would do that in the cage during the fight just to piss Eblen off. But that might not be a good idea. Either way, Dalton Rosta has got more muscles than he knows what to fucking do with. Impa is just the nicest fucking killer you've ever seen in your life. All right. Sumiko Inaba, we have an interview coming up here soon, if that's already up on our YouTube, that Jay Anderson pulled with Inaba, the sweetest fighter probably on the planet, taking on Lipsky da Silva, who really is trying to get like you could say like a career resurgence in the PFL, and I think it's a good fight for her to actually do that. So overall, but the one fight, just real quick, if you don't mind, the one fight I'm looking forward to the most.
Para Grande and no, fight too.
Yeah, great fight. Yeah, 100%. Why don't you have Alan Bagosa's picture on here? Goddamn. All right,
because he did just sign. He did just sign.
He did, but come on, PFL, dude. Like your website has been better than the UFC's for years now. You fucked this one up. Come on, I have you guys on the air. Damn. No, but I'm a big fan of Alan Bagosa. He's a good dude, buddy of mine. Great dude. Against Cartwright, who's going, making the rounds, doing interviews, stuff like that, talking big game, like he wants to go in there and scrap and everything. I think it's a sneaky, really good fight. At 135, 160 apparently. Oh wow, 160. Usually Bagosa fights at 35 or 25. Do you remember, Pat, what he fights at? Alan?
35,
right? Okay, so he's coming up a little bit, but again, he brought in late and everything. He was hoping for a UFC call.
I don't think it's 160. I think they fucked up. I'm not gonna lie.
They gotta fuck up. It's gotta be like 145.
I think, if anything, it's a 140. It's a 140, 145. Like
it's gotta be 140.
Way fighting 160.
I was gonna say like that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like 160. Like don't even bother cutting weight. But otherwise, like, honestly, the card's actually pretty damn good. Now, okay, if you guys, you tell me first, there, Brett. This card is going up against the UFC card, the Seattle card. All right. What do you think happened? Who do you think comes out on top?
No, it's easily just the UFC just because of the main event. But if you're looking here, and you're a real hardcore fight fan, which I'm assuming a lot of people who follow us are, like Alexei Para Grande on here is undefeated. He's been showcased by this promotion for 2.5 years now at Nashville cards I've been at. And he's finally getting a step up in competition against Julio Arce, who's coming from the UFC and has like a 21-6 record and is a vet, as tough as they come, hard to be finished. Alexei Para Grande is a very technical kickboxer. I believe he fought last year in Miami as well. I saw him fight twice, Miami and Tennessee, I believe. He was at the Hard Rock Finals on the undercard. But he's very impressive, very long, has creative techniques, spinning techniques. He's like one of these guys. He's not Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but he's that type of mold. I'm not saying he's that level of talent, but he's that kickboxer, in and out of range, got good stance, 7-0, 21-6 for Arce. A lot of hype going to be on the side of Alexei Para Grande, but I really like this matchup.
Yeah, it's a good fight for him too. It's a good fight. Julio Arce is a dog, and if he can beat Arce, that's impressive. Sorry, Pat, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say, like, this is a good card top to bottom, honestly. Like, there's some names. They have some sneaky fights on this card. You got Josh Fremd's PFL debut. You got Lipsky's PFL debut. Alora Dana was the juggle fight champion. She lost to Liz Carmouche in her last fight, but that's
Ron won their world tournament last year, didn't he?
Who? Lazaro?
Ron from Cuba?
No, he didn't win the world tournament, but he knocked out Bryce Meredith last year.
I thought that was for the...
Yeah, no, he knocked out Bryce Meredith, and he had the draw with Danny Sabatello in a fight that he had a point taken, and if he didn't, he would have won that fight. So Dayron has the argument that he's potentially the best prospect at 135 right now in the PFL. Yeah. And, you have Natan Schultz returning after all this time and the controversy with the Manfio fight against undefeated Jakob Kajuba. Dakota Bush making his PFL debut. Ernesto Rodriguez was a hot prospect. He's making his PFL debut. I mean, they did a great job with this card, honestly. I think it's honestly a big sleeper. This is probably one of the better cards that they have announced right now, because I think the Chicago one's a little underwhelming. And I think
I'm not going back home for it.
No, and Belfast just lost Hughes, Yeah.
On that point, Pat, though, and Brett, on that point, my first thought was, why the fuck is this not the Chicago card? Are you guys fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Flip those cards. What are we doing? This is a great card for Chicago. This is way too much for Pittsburgh. No offense, Pittsburgh, all right, but y'all got the Steelers, and that's fucking it. All right, like relax. All right, your city sucks. But either way, like this should be in Chicago. It shouldn't have nothing to do with freaking Pittsburgh. Fuck
Yeah,
out of here.
no,
At least
this is
Philly. At least
Do we have
Philly.
anybody
goddamn
at
it.
this one this weekend?
No.
Oh, okay. Are you thinking about how far is Pittsburgh from you, Pat?
Forever.
6 hours, 7 hours.
Oh shit!
No,
Yeah,
no,
Pittsburgh's on the other side of PA. So
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah.
yeah,
So this is a card this weekend. Is this Saturday, same time?
Saturday card.
All right. That's what you got for PFL this weekend, fight fans. So we got to get to Dana White's reaction of Nate Diaz. Now, he didn't seem surprised when he was asked at the post-fight press conference last week
I'm
about
not
Diaz
surprised.
signing with MVP to fight Mike Perry. That's a big fight. We'll have to get Eddie's reaction on that one. Me and Pat wrote that one down last week. But he was asked about it, and he said, I think he got an offer that he can't refuse. Some people were saying it was over 10 on Joe Rogan's Fight Companion. Him and Brendan Schaub were speculating it might have been around the 15 area. So, Eddie, what do you think about not only the fight between Mike Perry and Nate Diaz, but Dana's reaction and willingness to let his former top stars like Nate Diaz and Ronda Rousey fight for other promotions?
Remember this, okay? There hasn't been that many fighters that have left the UFC on a win and went off to go do shit somewhere else. He tried to kill Nate. That fight was supposed to be against Hamzat. Hamzat's fat ass couldn't make weight. They had to flip it over. Nate goes on a W. All right. He went on a W on double birds, double birds, and went to make way more money than he ever did for the UFC. Outside of the Conor fights, for sure. I'm not stupid. I know good and goddamn well. Nate definitely got paid for the second one, right? But in terms of like him going somewhere else, and Dana, like this, Dana has to say this shit. All right. Nate Diaz leaving, and then Ronda Rousey coming back. Fight was supposed to be again. The Corona fight was that fight's supposed to be in the UFC. It didn't work out. They didn't move fast enough to do it. Right? It's got to be like a repeated kick in the nuts when that card has those two fights and your UFC White House card looks like a PFL card. I said that shit. Yeah, 100%. Outside of that main event, the rest of that card eat dick.
Well, there you go. We're underwhelmed by. Here's the deal. Last week, a lot of people wanted us to talk about MVP versus the White House card. Which card's better? I think the MVP card will get more views, no doubt about it. Being on Netflix, their accessibility to worldwide homes. But if I'm a fight fan, the most talent is. I want to watch Ilia Topuria. I want to watch and see if Real Gon can rise to the occasion, or if he's going to get flatlined by a guy who came up 2 weight classes below him. So I think there are. But to your point, like what the fuck is Mauricio Huffy and Michael Chandler doing on the card? Who knows? A lot of and then you got Dawkins on there as well. So some people were.
Here's where I come from it. All right, just real quick because I want to make sure I put the context to it. Okay, because everyone's like, it's not the same. This is UFC and MVP. MVP's never done MMA. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing: MVP didn't come out and say this is gonna be the baddest card we ever put together. Blah, 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 blah. It's gonna be insane. We're doing it for fucking this geezer ass's birthday. It was supposed to be for America on July 4th, but we moved it to this dipshit's birthday. All right, fine, fuck it. All right, they didn't do any of that. All MVP said is here's Rousey Carano. Oh, by the way, Ngannou Lins, which is weird, but whatever, right? By the way, Nate and Perry. Parnese, we could bring this badass kickboxer from overseas. They didn't have to say anything. Jason Jackson Larkin. Put some respect on Jason Jackson's name. That kick can scrap. Okay, and Larkin's a bad motherfucker.
They just added Makayev versus Adriano. What's his last name?
Moraes.
Yeah, from one championship.
Right. Yeah,
former one championship champion that beat Demetrius Johnson. Okay,
you have that
this card.
Actually,
I do. My bad, dude. I got you.
No, you're good.
Yeah. But
I'm trying to remember the fights on there, and I'm like, they're like coming, to me one at a time. Here we go.
Then you got Pereira's little sister on the card. You got David Mgoyan, who's an Arman Saryukian protege, who was on DWCS this year. Lost a really close fight against Sean O'Malley protege, Tommy McMillan. Namo Fazil is a fun fighter. He gets a lot of good finishes. Same with Jake Baby, and not as big of names though. Those guys are kind of.
I got my boy Kenny Cross on here, but
Kenneth. So again, if you look at both cards, you can't just look at the cards. But what is UFC? Is MVP? No. The UFC. All right, a bald white dude went on the internet and told me it was going to be the greatest card they ever put together, and that's what they gave me. Not only that, he said, "Oh, well, they made the fights and I picked them." I picked the fights. Okay, Dana, so you're telling me not only did you not deliver on the greatest card you ever put together, but you picked it, brother. Are you telling me you don't know what the fuck you're doing anymore? Is that what you're telling me, Dana? Because this card, all right, when you put it in context, both cards, the White House card is ass compared to this one. I said that shit. But in all fairness, talent-wise, Brett, 100% correct. I'd rather watch Illy, flatline Justin Gaethje. I'd rather watch Pereira, flatline Cyril Gane, 100%. But the rest of the card, I'll sleep through it. I won't. But
I will say, Eddie, you're right in 100% in one category is that the expectation level. We don't expect this out of.
That's what I'm saying.
No one expects this type of card coming from them. Look at what they just did with the other cards they've been producing. It's like, okay, you got Katie Taylor and Serrano fight, and you got Mike Tyson. They've never produced something like this with this level of talent before. And it's not the same level of talent as the UFC, but it's a step up. And one other thing I want to say is that Dana White said about 2 months ago, I'm beating up babies. It's like I can't – these guys won't fight back. Well, now MVP has put up a legitimate card that I would consider the best fight card since maybe a pay-per-view type Bellator card on Madison Square Garden outside of the UFC. And it's going to get more eyeballs potentially than what they have going on at the White House. So not only are people fighting back, you also have guys like Eddie Hearn signing your top guys in managerial deals, and he's going to get a look at those contracts that you don't really want anybody to see moving forward. So he kind of has been throwing some stones guys here in Q1 of this year, and I think some people are finally fighting back.
That's what it is, dude. That's what it is. And I know he said that about boxing. And trust me, they're coming back. All right, boxing will find a way to punch back and everything. Because I get what. And look, I think Dana's waiting to get really, really loud after this Ali thing passes. There's a Muhammad Ali act, right? Because for as much as he wants to say we're not messing it up, we're making it better. No, you're not. You're making it better for your business model. We know that. Okay. So once that passes, then Dana's gonna come out and start smacking people around. Until then, these promoters have a little bit of time left to try and do something. The problem is they've never dealt with someone like Dana White, right? They have never dealt with someone as brash as Dana White, and now they're all kind of shutting the hell up. And Eddie Hearn's trying, right? He's trying, right? Well, I'll sign your heavyweight champion. And Dana's like, so
he's got a working relationship with Jake Paul, right? And the more he gets his hands on this sport, he can threaten to take those guys over if there is an MVP promotions or there's a legitimate competitor that's going to pay Tom Aspinall $15 million. He can say, all right, Dana, you can say what you want about my boxing. Watch me take every single one of your top stars I want to, because I'm going to give them more money than any manager that's under your control. And that's when Dana's going to have a problem.
And Dana's going to have to pick up Eddie Hearn's calls because that's their manager. You want time to fight who? Oh, give me a call, Dana. Well, I don't want to. Well, tough shit. I'm his manager.
Oh, shit. Francis is available.
I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, the game is changing. For years, Dana's been bullying everybody. Some of these guys will start fighting back. Now, the question is there going to be more? Because here's the thing. What happens when the crowd? When there's one bully in the playground, all right, it always takes one guy to step up for the rest of the cowards to be like, oh, yeah, what the hell, dude? There's 80 of us and one of you. Eventually, some of these guys might actually get their head out of their asses and be like, you know what? Let's work together. Let's see what happens. Okay. Eventually, I think that's what's gonna happen if these guys have the balls to put their egos aside and their wallets aside for at least a couple of events or for at least a cause, and then finally the babies will punch back. But until then, Dana White's gonna have an easy time running his mouth, saying whatever he wants, and then once that the Lee Act, the revisions pass to that, there's no stopping him at that point.
What do you think, Pat? This card compared to the White House card? We talked about talent and some of this stuff. What is your overall opinion on these two cards?
I think it's an incredible event for the first time that, any promotion is holding their first event. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty crazy how this is the first event for MMA they've held. So I think that's incredible, despite how much money they have or whatever. They did a decent job, sourcing people out, not just from big names, but from the regional scene too. You got guys like David Mgoyan on the card, Namo Fazil, just guys you wouldn't have expected, So they did a good job for sure. With that said, it's better than the White House card. I mean, I think it's tough to compare because one card has 11 fights and another has 6. I think it's always going to be hard to compare a card that has so many fights to so little. But talent-wise, the White House card blows this away. I mean, come on. Rousey versus Carano in the main event. Fun fight, but it's not the skill for skill. Like, both these women are older. Same with Diaz Perry. Fun, but both of those guys are older, And Ngannou obviously has crazy talent. Parnas has crazy talent. There's Mokaev has crazy talent. Moraes, like there's guys with a lot of talent on this card, but I don't think it compares to the White House card. No.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you guys both hit it on the head there. Expectations have been raised for MVP moving forward after this card, and we'll have to see how it goes as this one comes up. But guys, one more thing before we head over to our predictions and analysis for UFC Seattle this weekend, headlined by Adesanya and Joe Pyfer. Jones has been on Twitter. He's been all over the place kind of complaining. And Rogan says that the card needs a little bit extra help on the fight companion. It seemed like even the UFC's most tenured employee was a little bit underwhelmed with what we have going on. Also Dana White said at the press conference as well that Jones was never on the radar for the White House card, but also mentions how there was active negotiations at the same time. So I don't really understand. He's lying to us. That's obvious. But what do you think about Joe Rogan saying they need to add another card, and or another fight to the card? Do you think that could potentially happen, Eddie?
Could it happen? Yes. Is it going to happen? It won't be the fight you want. Right? Could we at least agree on that? I know he said, what did he say? He said someone sent me, I don't watch Rogan. Can't do it. It's the same old shit every fucking
He had the old crew on there, Schaub and Diaz and Eddie Bravo. Eddie Bravo's my boy. I'm going to watch Eddie Bravo.
I'll watch Eddie Bravo all day. I can't watch a second of Schaub. I feel like I get dumber every 2 seconds when he fucking says
He smoked a cigar backwards, Eddie. Look it up on Twitter. I shit you not. It went viral.
I wish I could say I'm surprised.
He lit the mouthpiece and smoked it backwards.
Is there a dumber human being that the fight? You know what? It makes sense that he was a fighter. He wasn't even good at that, but it makes sense that he was a fighter. Fucking Christ.
Shit, he's better than the guys we got now at heavyweight.
Yeah. No, I'm saying. No, I know Rogan was like, we threw that fight on the throw that fight again, because Rogan wants to say what we're saying. The card sucks compared to the expectations that we were talking about. Again, right? You got to look at the card. If Dana had not come out and said it's gonna be the greatest card, the most baddest card we ever put together, had he not said that, I wouldn't be saying any of this at all. I'd be like, okay, well, that's kind of a mid card for a White House card, but cool, whatever. It's solid, it's pretty good talent on there, right? The fact that he said that ruined it for me completely, because that means he didn't live up to it, and I think he wasn't gonna live up to it. I think he realized pretty early on, he's like, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to do this thing. Oh shit, this is not gonna be a Sphere. The Sphere pulls this card out of the water, just overall in presentation and fights and everything. Okay, my opinion. But in terms of like Rogan saying add another fight, could they? Yes. Will they? It won't be Jones. It won't be the fight that you want. If they add another one, it's gonna be another like shit. So you might as well not touch it. Just let it be what it is at this point. Leave it alone. Because if you're gonna add a fight and it's not John Jones, or it's not a big name or a big fight, something actually interesting, I don't care. I'm not gonna care. Not to mention, who knows why? I mean, there's a limit. Was it 6-7 fights, right?
Yeah,
how many fights is on? 6? Okay. They could go to 7, sure, right? But there's got to be a reason why there's a limit of fights. So It is what it is. I don't think they'll do it, but if they do, good. They should. I just hope it's a really good fight and not just some filler crap that the UFC likes to do every weekend these days.
And Pat, one thing Joe Rogan did say as well is he was a little concerned about the safety concerns at the White House. He's like, oh, we're in the middle of a war. We don't really know what's going on with other countries. Is this really the right time to be doing this? What do you think about maybe the safety concerns around the card?
I think they'll probably have insane security for the event, especially if all the elites that they project will be there are going to be there. I feel like the security is going to be so insane. Like, you thought airport security was crazy? Yeah, no. This is probably going to be 3 times that, So I'm not too worried with that. I mean, I could see it as a big opportunity for, anyone that wants to do harm to potentially do it, but I doubt it ends up happening, to be honest.
Oh, dude, the Secret Service is crazy. Okay, they're gonna have that place on lockdown. Snipers in every building. There's gonna be people not allowed. You won't be able to you won't be allowed to walk around the White House probably within like mile. There's gonna be a crazy perimeter. It's gonna be insane. Good luck, Gabriel, dealing with all that bullshit, because I ain't doing it. So there you go, buddy. Gabriel Gonzalez is gonna be over there for Cageside Press. I was not gonna deal with Secret Service and all that. You kidding me? They're going to look at me and be like, oh, he has a beard. Take him down. Like, what the fuck, bro? It's a camera, dog. It's a camera.
Get him out of here.
And exactly. Anyway, but I mean, safety concerns, sure, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. When it comes to the White House, now, never mind. I don't want to get crazy. Go ahead. You guys, I'm going to start sounding like Brown Alex Jones in a second.
All right, guys, we got to get to the UFC Seattle card this weekend. Former champion Israel Adesanya returns, trying to make another title push late in his career versus upstart from Philadelphia, Joe Pyfer, 15-3. Guys, this guy has come from abject poverty to the big show in this during media this week, he was kind of emotional with some people kind of talking about his journey. But Joe Pyfer here is all business, and he finishes fights devastatingly. If he wins this weekend, I do not see him winning in a 5-round decision. I see him absolutely shutting the lights out of the former champion if he does get it done. Now, here's the question. Can Israel Adesanya kickbox him at range from the outside like he did Paulo Costa earlier in his career? I think that's kind of the matchup we have to go off of, what Izzy's fought previously, because Joe Pyfer is a guy who, just like Paulo Costa, moves forward, big right hand, looking to get you out of there early in the first round. Might not necessarily have the best gas tank. 5 rounds this time for Izzy. Do you think he, cardio kickboxes him to a decision victory, Pat?
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the Joe Pyfer heel turn. He's now a nice guy that believes in Christ and is sharing his life through Christ. And
that's what I'm saying. He turned it.
He's acting like he's acting like we just we're supposed to forget about what he was in the past, because I didn't think he was a good kind of guy, to be honest. Like, just not my cup of tea. And I guess he just wants us to completely forget that because it's what he's acting like. Pyfer wins. I think it's bad for the division, honestly. I don't think he beats a lot of guys in the top 10. I mean, his fight against Calvin Gastelum was not good. Straight up, it just wasn't a good performance, really. And he struggled in that fight after round 1. He dropped Gastelum in round 1, looked good, and then rounds 2 and 3 kind of struggled with Gastelum a bit. He lost to Jack Hermanson earlier in his career because he gassed out in rounds 3, 4, and 5. I just don't love the 5-round fight scenario. Obviously, Adesanya's chin is not in a good place. So I agree with you, Brett. If he wins this fight, it's going to be by bombing Adesanya within the first 2 rounds. But I don't know. I feel like Adesanya has to know that. Against Impa, I feel like it wasn't as obvious. Like, oh, stay away from the big punch. This fight, it's got to be obvious, So I feel like you got to put everything into training just to avoid that big overhand right. And if he does, I feel like Izzy should be able to work on Pyfer throughout the fight and should be able to beat him.
Eddie, is Israel Adesanya washed? Is your favorite fighter Joe Pyfer about to make a name for himself this weekend?
All Izzy has to do is give him a taco. This motherfucker's gonna fold in a heartbeat, dude. Here's the thing. Yeah. Pyfer came out with the John Jones Conor McGregor PR special. What do all these guys do when they turn into shitbags? I found Jesus. Forgive me now, right? Because I found Jesus. Because Jesus, guys, guess what? Jesus did it. All right, Jesus. All right, look at my Bible. I have it right here. It's upside down. I know. Hold on a second. Here you go. All right,
Bryce Mitchell.
Bryce, everybody's all Jesus-y now because that's how they fix their image. I don't buy it anymore at all. Like, there's some guys that have changed their life because of religion. Good for you. Hey, 100% religion is needed by a lot of people. 100%. All right. Using it as a PR stunt is some bullshit, though. I'm like, come on, dog. Come on, man. You think we believe you? All right. Relax. Just be you. Be an asshole. I can respect that at least. I can't respect you flipping and bullshitting everybody. Like, I'm a good guy now, Jesus. All right. And again, I'll respect the religion. I have no problem with it. Okay. Bottom line, Israel Adesanya wins this fight, I think, because I agree with Pat. If Joe wins, he's losing his next fight because they're gonna give him a bigger fight next. You have to. If he beats the former champion, you got to give him a bigger fight, right? And whoever that is gonna destroy him. So if he wins, good for him, right? It's a huge payday for him next fight. Hopefully, next fight out, and opportunity to do something bigger and all that. Maybe he surprises us and shows that he's actually grown, right? But the last 3-4 Pyfer fights is the same damn thing over and over and over again. You got to get me to care. You got to improve. If you're not gonna, and again, if Joe Pyfer comes in, he's just gonna Joe Pyfer Izzy, you're out of your fucking mind. All right, that's Israel Adesanya. This dude is as slick as they come on the feet. Okay, now if Izzy worked on his wrestling and can actually even improve that takedown defense, he had pretty good takedown defense beforehand, right? What was he working with Robert Whitaker, right? He's working with Robert Whitaker. That's a damn good piece of iron to sharpen yourself against. All right, let's fucking do this shit. So I'm more curious about how Izzy looks than what Joe looks. I know what Joe's gonna bring. I want to see what Izzy's gonna do. And is Izzy gonna give us one more title run before it's all over? Because let's be real, he's got high miles on his body and not a lot of time left.
Can I say something too, real quick, just to add to my point? So Pyfer, we think, has to bomb Izzy early, right? Yeah, no, he has some grappling, but I don't know if it's good enough to really get on top of Izzy like that. Pyfer has 3 KO wins in the UFC. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 1, we got Marc-Andre Barriel. Marc-Andre Barriel 6-10 in the UFC. Number 2, we got Alan Amedovski. Alan Amedovski was 0-4 in the UFC. And for number 3, we had Gerald Meerschaert, which was a great win, but Meerschaert is 12-13 in the UFC. If he does it to Izzy's got to retire. I mean, come on.
Oh,
you know,
He's washed if it's
you know, it's like that's the thing. It's like the guys he's beaten recently, Pyfer at the very least, 3 of his last 4 wins, only 1 is a knockout, and it's the Marc-Andre Barrios fight. He's won by submission, he's won by decision. You know, like his power hasn't translated like crazy against higher-ish level competition. So, I mean, if it does against Izzy, that would honestly kind of just be that'd be it. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it happening. I just think Izzy should be so much better than him, you know?
Pat just dropped the "Your Honor, that's my fucking case." Boom. That's what Pat just did right there.
It would certainly be a changing of the guard moment if Joe Pyfer does get it done this weekend. I think all of us are going to go with Israel Adesanya by decision. Do any of you guys think he gets him out of there? That Izzy can stop Joe?
I could see it, but I probably lean decision.
And if he does it, it'll be in the later rounds. I think Joe Pyfer, for all his faults, he's a tough motherfucker, dude. It's hard to knock out, right? But in the later rounds, if he's gassed, if he's tired, like this isn't Sean Strickland he's fighting Joe Pyfer, right? I know they're 2 white dudes, but they're vastly different. So it's going to be a different type of fight. I think we get to rounds 4 and 5, Izzy's going to start sniping him over and over and over again. And I think if he finds the finish, it's there. But I agree with Pat. It'll be a decision victory.
And I agree with Eddie that if he does get it, it's in rounds 4 and 5. I think it would be later.
Yeah, and we did see him gas against, as you mentioned, Jack Hermanson, and maybe a fighter more dangerous than Hermanson would have got him out of there in those situations. But I was trying to look up the odds here for fight fans before we move to the co-main event. I'm in Texas, so I'm having a little trouble getting on FanDuel, but I've got them pulled up now. Ooh, guys, really close. Joe Pyfer plus 106, Israel Adesanya minus 136. We're all unanimous for Adesanya here, but are we missing something? Is it a little closer than what we think?
I don't think we're missing anything. I mean, the only thing that we could be missing is if Pyfer wrestles, but is wrestling that good that it's going to be a factor against Izzy? I don't know. And
wrestling takes energy, a lot of it.
That is true. So we are all going Israel Adesanya this weekend, which moves us to the co-main event between 2 ranked women's fighters, Alexa Grasso and Macy Barber. Former champion Alexa Grasso facing Macy Barber, who had to pull out of a fight with Erin Blanchfield last year, but is returning against a very well-respected fighter in Alexa Grasso. Eddie, what do you think about this matchup? Macy Barber trying to make a push towards the title, facing obviously a former champion in Alexa Grasso in trying to get there.
So Macy Barber had to pull out of that fight on the walkout. That's how wild that was, right? At the walk, she didn't even make it out to. I mean, she started walking out. She turned right around, went back to the locker room. She had legit health issues. So, first off, hopefully she got that figured out. Hopefully she's healthy. She feels good and coming into this fight and doesn't, have to pull the same thing. Who knows? I still don't know exactly what happened. I don't know is that she went to the hospital and was really messed up. Alexa Grasso needs to show he still has something. She needs to show it. Hasn't gone really well. Obviously, lost her last fight, lost the title, all that kind of thing. And so. And she pulled out of her last fight, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, against Rose.
Yeah. So, Alexa's had a lot of time off, plenty of time to improve some things, sharpen the tools a little bit. I need to see her grappling look a little better, in my opinion. Her wrestling, not just like jiu-jitsu, but the wrestling. Her wrestling's got to look better. But I think this will be a stand-up fight for the most part. And for Macy Barber, it's probably the biggest opportunity of her career. She beat the former champion. I mean, shoot, like she's gonna ask for a bigger fight. She should get it.
Yeah, it would certainly be the biggest win of her career. Who do you like in this one, Pat? Macy Barber in the youth or the championship experience of Alexa Grasso?
I think I got to go with Barber here only because of just how mid Grasso has looked lately, to be honest. I mean, she's been inactive, right? She's only fought once a year for the past 3 years now. And her last win was 3 years ago, over 3 years ago now, against Valentina Shevchenko. And the more and more time that goes by, the more and more that performance looks a bit fluky to me, Like, I hate to say it, but I don't know. I thought she kind of overshot the expectations completely, like just in her career in general. And looking back now on her wins and everything, I mean, how many of her wins are still in the UFC? You have Valentina, Araujo's out of the UFC. Joanne Woods retired. Macy Barber is one of her wins. then Jiyeon Kim, Carolina Kovalevich, Ronda
Mhm.
Marcos. All these girls aren't in the UFC anymore. They're retired. You know, she doesn't really have a lot of wins over active fighters anymore. And one of the only ones she does have is over Macy Barber. That fight was
Mhm.
5 years ago now. Has enough changed? I think so. I think Barber's
I didn't even
really
remember
good.
that they fought, to be honest.
Yeah, they fought 5 years ago. But the thing is, Barber came back after that Blanchfield stuff. She beat Karine Silva in December, and she looked pretty damn good doing it. So I don't know. I think I do like Barber here, but you could kind of make the same argument for her that a lot of the wins that she's had are no longer in the UFC. But I just feel like Barber's definitely hit a higher level than she was at when they first fought, and I feel like Grasso obviously has too. But I feel like she's getting closer back down to where she used to be, which I think is a problem. You know, I think Barber's on the up, Grasso's on the down, and I think I like Barber to win a close decision here. But Grasso's going to need to use her wrestling. You know, I don't think she outstrikes Barber. She had nothing at all for Natalia Silva, and I don't know if she'd really have anything for Barber on the feet. So she's got to use her wrestling here and got to use her wrestling to grind out a win.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you, Pat. I'm going to go Barber by decision. Which way are you going in this one, Eddie?
I mean, he kind of won't allow me to not to pick Elsa Grasso.
No surprise.
She's from my hometown, dude. If she was from anywhere but my
really?
hometown, I'd be like, yeah, from Guadalajara. But I was like, if she wasn't from my hometown, I wouldn't pick her honestly. But I gotta say. That being said, Alexa, you better show up with that wrestling. Macy's gonna wrestle your ass. You better be ready. And that girl's strong. She look at her. She's thick, strong. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys.
Ready.
In this next fight, how in the world do we not have Mansour Malik, Abdul Malik versus Belgagori up here? And we've got two old dogs in Michael Chiesa and Nico Price. They've been needed to go to the pasture for quite some time now.
Skip.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Chiesa decision or submission. I don't really like this fight at all. I think it's an awful fight to have on a main
To be
card.
fair, short notice. It was supposed to be Carlston Harris, which is still weird,
Right.
but it's because it's Chiesa's retirement fight and he's from Washington. Simple
okay.
as that.
Yep,
That's
yep.
the only reason why this fight is on the main card. It's probably the only reason why this fight is on the card. Let's be real.
Is Nico Price like the slotted in retirement guy? Like Robbie Lawler, your retirement fight. Here you go. We know, like,
yes,
Yeah, 100%.
100%. And that's the thing is, I mean, let's be real. Nico Price poses no threat anymore. Like going through his career right now, he is 1-5 in his last 6 fights, and if you go even farther back, it gets worse. He's like 2-8, 2-7 in his last 10, something like that. You know, so. I mean, we just saw him get knocked out in a minute 40 by Nikolai Veretennikov.
yeah.
And that was a month ago. So, yeah, Chiesa by submission. I don't think there's much of a reason to talk about this fight. They threw Nico Price in here to get Chiesa a free win to retire on.
Yep. There we go.
And that's the thing, though, real quick. That's the thing on that, right? This is the kind of fight where you can see Nico Price knock out Chiesa or some shit like that. Like it'll be some sad ass shit. And the UFC will wait till they go to Baku to play the Michael Chiesa fucking retirement video. UFC, you're fucked up for doing Stipe like that. No, fuck off.
That was weird.
I lost so much respect for whoever fucking scheduled that shit. How the hell is he gonna lose it or retire? Right, lost the fight to John Jones, and you play his retirement video in China, wherever it was, in the middle of the night. The fuck are we doing? Jeez, that's embarrassing. But anyway,
it's better than Goldberg, who didn't get shit. Mike
we can
Goldberg.
talk about Goldberg some other time. All right.
They did my boy Goldie fucking awful. They did him to the bud.
And he was like, we can do that.
We can do that some other time. We'll let Joe Rogan do that one, okay? But I can tell you right now, Burt Watson deserved a better video than Mike Goldberg. Mike Goldberg, you know what Mike Goldberg is? Mike Goldberg is your creepy uncle that shows up to the family reunion and says weird ass shit the entire time. And you look at him sideways like, is he drunk? Is he high? Or is he like suffering from some kind of illness? Because god damn, boy. All love, Mikey. All love, all right? But that'd be fucking wild. Yeah, Mike Goldberg never got one. Either way, who knows, dude? Honestly, Michael Chiesa has
They're
been
always doing shady shit with the retirements of people. It's like they're not giving them the respect that they. Listen, Anderson Silva's career ended bloody face down against Uriah Hall in the Apex, newly built with no seats in there, bro. Like he built the sport, you know. So
I'll put it this way, and boys, take this to heart when it comes not just to the UFC, but the corporate America. Unless you are making the boss a ton of money, they don't give a fuck about you. They don't respect you. They don't even like you. Okay. And the UFC, Dana White has proved that over and over and over again. If you made him a ton of money, he rolls out the red carpet. Where's Demetrius Johnson's fucking Hall of Fame spot? Where was Demetrius Johnson's thank you for everything DJ video? Where is that? The guy has more title defenses than, I think someone will check me on this, more title defenses than Anderson Silva, and not a peep, not a clap, not a thank you, nothing.
Did he break that? I thought Silva.
I think
he might have got the
all-time
all-time win. He might have got the wins in a row.
I remember he was going for the most defensive, but I don't know if he got it. He might not have gotten it. I'm probably wrong on that. But either way, like he did. Can we agree DJ was the best flyweight of all time? Easily.
Yeah, easily.
I
mean, if you listen to John Anik, he'll tell you whoever the fuck has the belts the current GOAT of whatever weight class you want to hear.
Brother, John Anik also puts out people's custody schedules and shit. Okay, what are we doing?
He'd sit there and go, Aljamain Sterling's the greatest bantamweight of all time, and then he'd lose. He'd be like, Merab's the greatest bantamweight of all time. Oh, and then 2 years before, he'd be like, oh, it was Dominic Cruz. It's like, bro, fucking pick a name for the love of God.
And then he goes like, this guy's divorce is going really, really bad right now. Right now, I think the wife wants everything. She wants him to pay all the money and all that shit. That's the kind of stuff Anik does. I love John Anik. He's a great.
All right, we got Julian Erosa on here versus Douglas. I mean, this isn't the greatest fight in the world either, but the 5 fights after that fight are bangers, and I don't know why they're not ahead on this card. These 2 fights should have started the card, and we've got Tyrell Fortune 17-3 making his debut against Marcin Tybura, who's a staple of that heavyweight top 15. So Julian Erosa here, he's submission threat at all times. He's long. I don't know really much about Douglas, but I got to think that if Erosa can get this fight to the ground, he's going to have some success. If not, Douglas will probably get it done.
Sir, Pat, get him, Pat, get him, Pat.
Dougie clipped me. I was so happy. He threw me in an edit earlier this week. Eddie tagged me in it. Yeah, I'm on an edit in his Instagram.
I've been busy with school and shit. Was he LFA? Was he fighting in the LFA before this?
No, it was from Contender Series. But yes, he was fighting. He was fighting in LFA. He was the champ there. He won the interim title, beat Javier Reyes, who's now in the UFC, and then KO'd Elijah Johns, younger brother of Miles Johns, for the championship. Dougie's a beast. He's got some bricks in his hands. Like real bricks in his hands. He's got some legit power. And I do think I actually do agree with Brett that if it does get to the floor,
sure,
Rosta could put him in some trouble. Rosta's really tricky on the ground, and he has some really good submissions. This isn't an easy debut for Dougie at all. They gave him a tougher debut here, but I think he's susceptible to being knocked out. We've seen it in the past, I mean, of Rosta's losses, he only has 12, but 7 are knockout losses. And he struggles with guys that have heavy hands and can put you out early, which is exactly what Larry Douglas is. So it's tough because I could, if this fight extends, see Erosa being too tricky for Douglas. But I got to rock with Douglas here, He's a great guy. He's got some bricks in his hands, and he's all action. I think the UFC wants him to win this fight because it would help them out to have a guy who can knock anyone at featherweight out rising through the ranks. So I think that's exactly what they want here.
Lehan Douglas has nuclear weapons for hands, okay? If Julian wants to take him down, he's got to go past those bitches, all right? Good luck, Julian. I've seen you eat shots and flatline, okay, dog, all right? I get it. If it gets to the ground, sure, 100%. You got to get it to the ground first, all right? And we haven't seen Lehan's ground game that much because he don't fucking need it very much, all right? Let's relax with that shit, all right? But I would bet you to say Lehan is pretty competent takedown defense, maybe definitely a solid ground game. I think it's going to be on Julian avoiding the hands, bottom line. And I think Lehan Douglas gets it by knockout.
Sorry for the disrespect, Lehan.
Thank you. That's okay. It's funny what you do.
I'm not as big into the regional MMA as Pat or some other guys, but we'll have to see how the former LFA champion does against the staple of the division, Julian Erosa. All right, now moving on down this one, Mansour Abdul Malik is going to put his undefeated record on the line against former professional kickboxer. Let's say I pronounce this right.
Yusri Belgarui.
Belgarui. Okay, yeah, I pronounced it wrong first on the show, but Belgarui has fought Alex Pereira. He's a legitimate guy. He comes into the UFC, knocks out Bakoyev. Bakoyev is a guy who everybody was really high on after beating Ryan Loder in Des Moines earlier last year by knockout. So he comes in there, stops a respected guy on short notice. I believe that Bakoyev was filling in that fight. Now Mansour Abdul Malik is extremely talented, trains at Extreme Couture with Sean Strickland and Eric Nixick from one of the best camps in the world. They got to have some type of game plan coming in here against the former professional kickboxer. That first fight with Sean Strickland against Alex Pereira might, Nixick's talked about that fight. He said that he wishes that Strickland could have taken that fight to the ground. You have to believe that Nixick is in the ear of Malik this weekend, wanting him to get this fight to the ground here. Now, Mansour Abdul-Malik is a guy who relies on his length a lot in this weight class as well. He's not going to have a length advantage in this one. This guy is 6'6" and the tallest man in this weight class currently. Eddie, what did you make of the potential of this guy when he beat Bakoyev first? And is Mansour Abdul-Malik about to lose his O?
I don't know, dude, but I love the matchup. I mean, you give him Mansour's getting a high level kickboxer, Duke and crack. Have we seen his ground game at all?
Usuri?
Yeah.
Not strong. That's his weak point.
Not strong.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the game for Mansour. Take him down, hold him down, beat him up on the ground if you can. Well, I don't think it'll be submission. I think he was gonna go for ground and pound. So if the fight is standing up, I know Mansour let's stay at length, right? Like he really Mansour likes to put the snap at the end of his punches, and it's great against a kickboxer. That's what he does. I don't know if it's gonna work great. Mansour's gonna dive for legs, and it'll be his advantage to make this boring as shit. Take him down, hold him down, beat him up on the ground as much as you can. Because like you said, I mean his ground game's not that strong for Usuri. We have to wait and see what happens here. But I agree with you, Brett. This fight should be higher on the card.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining fights that we see. And Pat, if you look at the potential of Ursi here, obviously one of the best kickboxers in this division right now. Alex Pereira is all the way up at heavyweight. But this guy's going to have a frame that can carry multiple weight classes. And I got to think that the UFC is going to want to streamline him up here like they've tried to do with Alex Pereira and some kickboxers to kind of bring some parity in this division. Now, we saw them try and do it with Robelis de Spain against Austin Lane. And some of these guys just don't have the takedown defense after, years of not doing it. And it just is what it is. Where do you think we see your Yosiri here? Do you think he's going to fall down the Robelis de Spain path, or do you think the UFC kind of has bigger plans for him like they did Pereira?
I don't know if the UFC has big plans for him, but I also don't think he really falls down the Robelis path as much either. It's weird because he was a two-time DWCS guy. He lost to Marco Tulio by decision. Tulio took him down, held him on the cage, put him in spots where he couldn't use his kickboxing, beat him in that fight. Then Usuri won 2 more, got on DWCS again, and then got a 3rd-round knockout, but didn't get signed because the fight was bad, to be honest. It wasn't a good fight. Then finally gets the call on short notice against Bakoyev. Fight gets rescheduled, but they keep the same matchup against Bakoyev, so it wasn't short notice anymore for him, and beats him up bad. Like that was kind of a surprise. I would have expected Bakoyev to use his grappling a lot more in that fight, but he really couldn't. He wasn't successful. He's just getting tagged at range. This is going to be one of two things. It's either going to be Mansour Abdul-Malik takes him down and beats him up pretty bad, or it's going to be a wake-up call for Mansour because he's kind of been disappointing. He beat Tricoli by some early submission, which was good. But the Nick Klein fight and the Cody Brundage fight especially were not good looks. They were not good looks at all. So this is going to really show, A, how much Mansour has grown, and B, if he can really stick to like a wrestling heavy game plan and just go for it and get Usuri out of there early. That's the thing is Usuri has the 3 losses. It's never been finished before. So Mansour would have to be the first man to put him out. And it's going to be tough because I feel like the longer the fight goes, the more Mansour will gas. If he gasses out, doesn't get the takedowns, I feel like he's going to get beat up on the feet the same way Bakoyev did. So it would be tough. Like, I don't know. I'm really 50-50 on this fight right now. I really don't think there's a side I'm leaning to more than the other. It's kind of one of those fights where I'm looking forward to it because it's going to give us a lot of info on where both guys stand and where they're going to go from here. And that's what I'm looking for in this fight. If I had to pick a winner, I'd probably lean Mansour a little bit just because I feel like they need to push that wrestling heavy game plan and they should know that. So as long as they do it, should be all right. But it would not shock me at all if Usuri was able to just pick him apart at range.
Yeah, Pat, you're not the only one who's 50-50 in these fights. As odds makers in Las Vegas, both have these guys as betting favorites. This is an even money line, -120 to -102. So even in Las Vegas, they really do not know how this one's going to go. I am going to side with the potential of Usuri in this one. I think the kickboxing, as I mentioned, the UFC knows how to match make these guys. I don't know if Mansour's ego is going to let him take this fight to the ground as well. Maybe he's just like, I'm more athletic, I'm younger, I'm going to get this one done. But at the same time, I'm going to take the potential of Yosiri in this one. Which way are you going, Eddie?
Oh, Mansour. I think Mansour is going to, and I know you're calling this, you're hoping for like a more entertaining fight. I really do as well. But I think the game plan is going to be take him down. You got to win this fight. Like Mansoor cannot lose to this dude. It cannot happen. It's gonna stall his momentum. So I think I make it boring. He'll shoot. Maybe he shoots or body locks, whatever, puts him on the fence, clinches with him a little bit, beats him up on the fence, and then maybe tries to go at him. Maybe lean on him early in the fight, try to tire Yusri out with the grappling. But I got to go Mansoor on this one.
All right, there you have it, fight fans. Another fight on this card that is guaranteed to be entertaining is Terrence McKinney and Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson is all action. And Terrence McKinney, it seems, Eddie, is either finish you in the first round or get finished in the first round. We've seen it on multiple times, whether it's Ribovics or him getting the job done himself over Slava Claus with the guillotine there. Who do you think wins this one? I think this is a car crash. Somebody's getting finished here in the first round. Kyle Nelson does have good grappling, but Terrence McKinney wrestled in college and is a good athlete as well. I think that means this fight's going to take place on the feet, and we'll have to see if McKinney can get the job done with his striking, which at times, Pat, has looked suspect.
Yeah, no, I mean, through 12 UFC fights, I mean, McKinney has only hit the second round twice. He's only hit the second round twice. He was finished in both of those fights. Can't win in round 2, wins every one of his fights in round 1, and can lose in round 1 as well. He's just one of those guys that as soon as the fight goes a little bit deep, it's over, but he fights that way. It's fun. It's very entertaining. I mean, you're getting a finish with him. Kyle Nelson is also a guy that has a sneaky amount of first round wins in his career. I didn't even realize it, but he actually has 8 finishes in round 1 in his career. Not in the UFC though. I think he only has 3 in the UFC, which isn't bad still, it's not horrible. But with that said, I think I like McKinney's athleticism here. I think he hits a lot harder. I think he's a lot trickier on the feet. And I think he's going to force Kyle Nelson into an early brawl. Nelson will probably oblige like he did in the Steve Garcia fight. And I think he gets caught because I don't know. I'm not too sold on Kyle Nelson's chin yet. I don't know. He's one of those guys that had a really good run of like 3 to 4 fights that were really good. Then Steve Garcia put him out and it was like, oh, well, there goes that, and I don't know. I just feel like he overshot expectations a little bit on that run he was on. And I feel like to get him back down to earth, we'll probably see McKinney get the win here.
Yeah, got to agree there. Which way are you going in this one, Eddie?
Kyle Nelson. Team X let me down too many times. Kyle Nelson. And Kyle Nelson, I'm not going to say it's a finish. I think he has a good chance to finish him. Team X been finished, right? Terrence McKinney comes out like a freaking bullet, right? Tries to kill everybody in the first 5 seconds because that's how he got his hype in the UFC. Hasn't worked out in the last handful of fights, I want to say. So, meanwhile, Kyle Nelson's smart. He's patient. And he lines up his shots. That's kind of what it is. And then afterwards, he'll be like, yeah. And afterwards, he'll do the usual thing. He'll be like, thank you, Canada. I appreciate you guys. Even though I'm fighting in Seattle, I'm close enough. And no father should have to be estranged from his kids. So that's what he does. And he's going to get all that. So,
no, I like your pick there because he is probably more safe. McKinney is consistently inconsistent. So to your point there, what you're getting with Kyle Nelson. So
I like how you put that. I like how you put consistently inconsistent. That's exactly like the way to describe. Honestly, a bunch of guys on this roster, but Team Act for sure.
Yeah. Now, one guy here, Ignacio Bahamondes, is going to be fighting Tofik Musayev, and we've really been high on in Bellator when he was at 155 pounds over there. But he's going to be fighting one of the longest guys in this weight class this weekend at 6'3", Ignacio Bahamondes. Now, Bahamondes, has not lived up to expectations at times in the past. Now, Musayev was finished by Alexander Shabley. He went on a little bit of run there after he stopped Sydney Outlaw in 19 seconds in his Bellator debut, but didn't look good against Mayatek Orobai in the debut in the UFC, guys. So, Pat, what do you think about Tofik Musayev, and do you think he can get inside the length of Bahamondes this weekend?
I thought the Orobai fight was stupid, to be honest, because Musayev is like one of those guys that he's a 155er, right? I'm pretty sure he's fought at 155 for most of his career. But I feel like he's a smaller 155er, right? Orobai was a massive 155er who's now fighting at 170 and just mauled Chris Curtis, who's been between 170 and 185 his entire career. And Orobai missed weight in that fight, and Musayev said, screw it, and still took the fight. Kind of got decimated, which sucked. But I feel like he got screwed in that fight. Just matchmaking alone, and then a massive weight miss from Orobai that he just wasn't going to decline his UFC debut. And Bahamondes, he's been solid. I know the Fiziev loss was a little rough, especially looking at it now with Fiziev getting knocked out by Rufi. Definitely not a great loss there, but this is a fun fight. Two fun strikers, two guys who I think are going to trade on the feet. I wouldn't be shocked if either of them won, but I think I do lean Bahamondes just because of his length in this fight. I feel like, 6'3" at lightweight is big, 75.5-inch reach. It's crazy because his reach here is 6 inches bigger, and I think he's going to be like around 6 inches taller as well. So there's just a massive size difference here again, which it's not going to play a part like Orobai's did in the grappling, but I feel like it will play a part in the striking. And I feel like if Ignacio stays calm enough and doesn't feed into the brawl that Musayev is probably going to try to engage in, then I think Bahamondes should be able to win a decision here.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. If he can weather that early storm, I think that Ignacio, he's one of the best leg kickers in the UFC to the low leg kicks. Got to think he's going to use that as a weapon this weekend. Eddie, you got Ignacio in this one as well?
I like Ignacio in this one. And Taufik's not a punk, but,
No.
I'm just not convinced by him at all. But I agree with what Pat said, honestly, overall. But Ignacio's going to win this fight.
Yeah. Guys, we do have ranked heavyweight Marcin Tybura facing debuting Tyrell Fortune, who we all know from the PFL and Bellator. Now, Tyrell Fortune was in some fights with Daniel James. He's 17-3 now. He picked up some wins over in the PFL before coming to the UFC. Now, guys, he just fought Tony Lopez in one of his last 2 fights, who's Eddie's age. And he had fought another guy who is not near UFC caliber as well before he came over. So I don't know what litmus test Tyrell Fortune has had before fighting Marcin Tybura, but this is going to be a major step up in competition for him comparatively to his last 2 fights. Now, do I think Tyrell Fortune may have the potential and skill to get this one done? It's very interesting because Marcin Tybura is a guy who wins on the ground more often than not when he has success, and Tyrell Fortune's a hard guy to take there. So if this is a fight that takes place on the feet, both these guys are about the same size. Got to think that Tyrell Fortune's a better athlete in terms of explosiveness and punching power. So I think that if Tyrell Fortune can keep his back off the fence and eventually from being dragged to the ground, I think he might be able to win a UFC debut here if he's not just overwhelmed by the strength of competition, like I mentioned. What do you think about that, Pat?
I think you did Eddie pretty dirty because Tony Lopez is 52. Tony Lopez is an old dude. So I think you did Eddie dirty. I gotta say that.
Real quick, not my dumbass Googling who how old this motherfucker was right now. Like, asshole. Yep. I saw it, I'm like, you motherfucker.
But no,
all right, fine.
How's he fighting a dude who's 52? Like, Tony Lopez is one of the toughest motherfuckers that ever lived, but like he's 52. Yeah. Like
65-34, baby.
Yeah.
Who you know with that kind of record? No, but seriously though,
Jeremy Horn, maybe.
Tyrell went 14-3 with 2 no contests across his Bellator and PFL days. Really impressive record, honestly. He's not a bad heavyweight by any means. This is a tough fight for him. This is a weird one. Like I feel like if he can't beat Tybura, there's not much of a chance he does much in the heavyweight division, But I also feel like he's already 35. Like, what more can we see from him that we haven't seen already? Yeah. Like, obviously, the competition will be different now in the UFC. It's tough for me. I don't rate his regional wins really at all. The ones that came after the PFL Bellator, he had 3. He beat Myron Dennis and Demorio Dennis, who were brothers, and then he beat Tony Lopez. But neither of those guys had impressive records. So it's just weird because it's one of those fights where like Tybura is obviously like past it. But he did beat Mick Parkin. He did beat Yonata Deniz. He beat Tai Tuivasa. He's 3-2 in his last 5. Hasn't been bad. He's just older and obviously declined. But is Fortune going to test that chin? Because that's been one of his biggest issues. I don't think so. And if he doesn't, I see this going to a decision, to be honest. It's probably going to be close. I feel like it could be one of those fights, close decision. Both guys win a round clearly, and then there's a close round in the middle somewhere that it's like, all right. But other than that, I don't really have a good feel for this fight. I'd probably lean Tybura just because of the UFC experience, having been there before. But I wouldn't be shocked if Fortune won a close decision or something. What would shock me is if Fortune went out there and finished him like some of these other guys have, which would be big, because then it's like, okay, you boost yourself into the top 10, and now you join the category of Antti D'Elia, Sergey Spivak, Tom Aspinall, guys that have finished Marcin Tybura in the last 6 years,
He's got the look and the record too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like it'd be a very big win and a big statement if he went out there and was able to finish Tybura. So that's what I'm looking at here. If he beats him in a close decision, I don't know how much that will even impact my view. But finishing Tybura, that's what he needs to do. He needs to go out there and make a statement.
And I like what you said about the matchmaking in this one, because this really determines at 35 years of age, it's put up or shut up time for Tyrell Fortune as he gets his chance. This is the litmus test of the division. Marcin Tybura, as you mentioned, he's faced all the guys who have gotten up above him, and they really use him as a benchmark for how good you are in the weight class. Eddie, do you think that Tyrell Fortune can pass the test this weekend?
Oh, man. Every time I bet against Marcin Tybura, he bites me in the ass, dude. It really does. The last fight he lost is because I picked Marcin Tybura. So, Marcin Tybura by boring ass decision. Is that going to work?
Yeah, I was going to say, guys, this has got to be one of the boringest fights. This might be a snoozer, to be honest.
It'll be a snoozer. And look, Tyrell Fortune trains here in my backyard, literally 10 minutes away from where I am, and I'm rooting for him for that. But I just don't see him beating him because Marcin Tybura loves to make these fights boring as shit and then claim that he should be fighting for the title.
All right, fight fans. A guy that Pat mentioned earlier that he likes the potential of is Navajo Sterling from Australia. He will be returning at 8-0 to face Bruno Lopez from Brazil, 14-2. Eddie, what do you think about this? Or Eddie, what do you think about this one? Navajo Sterling, Pat mentioned the potential there, but Bruno Lopez is a tough customer as well. He's no punk. Do you think this is going to be an easy win for Navajo Sterling?
I'm gonna give my time to Pat on this one because he definitely knows a lot more about Navajo than me. But Navajo has let me down a couple times. Like I expected high level performances, and he seemed nervous at best. Like he seemed like he was really worried about losing, and those make for pretty boring fights. So I don't know what I'm gonna go with Navajo on this one, undefeated, and he keeps proving people wrong and everything. But Pat, what do you think, dude? Because I don't know what to make of this fight because I'm not expecting much out of the fight as a whole. Unless Bruno makes Navajo fight, Navajo's just gonna do his thing.
Navajo's just been disappointing. Like he was, not Navajo. Well, both of them have been disappointing actually. Bruno was supposed to be one of the best light heavyweights outside of the UFC, on the rise before he went on DWCS the first time. Then he got flatlined by Brenson Ribeiro, who's not good, and that was rough. Then he comes into the UFC. He gets the win over Gaji Azulov, who was considered pretty decent at light heavyweight, boring but decent, and then he gets slept by Dustin Jacoby, which again it's not a bad loss, but it's like got slept again. Where's your chin at? This is one of those fights that I feel like a lot of people are looking for that finish from Navajo. I mean, he hasn't gotten it yet. He rocked Bellotto, he rocked Ivan Urslan, he's rocked guys in these fights, so it's not like he's not carrying power. The finishes haven't been there, and it's definitely been an issue. It's definitely become part of the narrative surrounding him now. I still think he should win this fight, but if Lopez is chinny, he should be able to finish it. And it's tough because I think I've picked Navajo Sterling to finish his last 3 opponents that he hasn't finished. So it's tough because it's like, how are you not finishing a guy like Tuco Tacos? Like Tuco is chinny, so it's like, I'm in a weird spot here with Navajo. I want to pick him to win by finish, but it's going to be tough to really win back that view for me. I probably will end up doing it here, but this is one of those fights where if he doesn't get the finish here after I pick him to get the finish again, I don't think I'll ever pick him to get a finish again. Like it's just one of those scenarios like where I'm starting to lose my faith that he can get the finishes. Do I think he's a great fighter? Yeah. Do I think he can compete in the top 15? Yeah. Can he finish these guys is now my question, And that's basically where I'm at with Navajo. So give me Navajo. Give me him by second round KO. But if he doesn't do it, I don't know. And I also think the betting line is pretty crazy because it's kind of writing off Bruno Lopez completely after going 1-1 in the UFC. I think Navajo's upwards of -600 right now. And don't get me wrong, Lopez has been a lot more disappointing than Navajo, but I know the DWCS loss to Ribeiro was rough. He lost to Dustin Jacoby. It's not a bad loss,
Striker, professional striker.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I feel like he's being written off a little bit too much going into this fight, but it also might pay off to be the right decision by people. So I don't know, but
Yeah.
I like Navajo here. Give me the second round finish, whatever.
I think that probably a high chance that happens there. Guys, let's move on to the final fight we're going to talk about tonight. Ricky Simón and Adrian Yanez. I think this is going to be a very entertaining matchup. Ricky Simón, obviously the big knockout win versus Basharat last year. Adrian Yanez, Eddie, I'm going to get your opinion on Adrian Yanez here because he's a guy who started in his UFC career with the Tony Kelly win. Everybody's like, Adrian Yanez, this is the next Mexican-American prospect. Everybody got behind him. He's from Houston. Really had a lot of hype behind him in this weight class moving forward. But he's going to be fighting a guy in Ricky Simón who's been in that top 10, top 15 for a considerable amount of time, whether he's in there for a little bit, moves back. He's always in contention in this weight class. What do you think about Adrian Yanez's chances of moving back up into consideration here against Ricky Simón?
So Adrian Yanez came in right off the Contender Series where he beat Brady Huang, who I just interviewed not long ago, and fortunate for him, broke his arm in his last fight. Best to you there, Brady. Hopefully recover quickly. But after that, he gets in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 victories. 5 bonuses for Adrian Yanez. That guy was like, he's fireworks. He's the guy was like, dude, he's the next guy. We're going to do this thing. Then he runs into a guy by the name of Rob Font and gets knocked out in the first round. Then he gets finished with a leg kick by Jonathan Martinez. By the way, all fairness, has nasty ass leg kicks, but still, you got finished by leg kicks. Comes back, beats Vinicius Salvador. First round, I think it was like TKO or second round, I can't remember, but then loses that split to decision. He's just up and down 1 and 3 in his last 4. That's a tough one. It's a tough one to come in. And I think he was supposed to fight Christian Quinones. That fight fell out last November. And now he's fighting motherfucker and Ricky Simón. I would love to say Yanez is going to win this fight, but Ricky Simón, it turns into a freight train when you underestimate him. So if Adrian and at all, or just overall, Ricky Simón's a bad motherfucker. But it's going to be a tough fight all the way. This fight should be higher. I don't care that both guys coming up for a loss. This should be entertainment value. This should be higher in the card, in my opinion. I think it's going to be just a car crash of a fight for as long as it goes. But it's hard to pick Yanez in this one. Honestly, it is. It's difficult. Difficult to pick Yanez. I'm going Ricky Simón, dude. I
am as well. Is that where you're going, Pat?
I don't know. This is a tough one for me. I feel like it is going to be close. I feel like it probably will go to a decision. And the thing is, with Ricky, like you'd expect him to like be a bit more wrestling heavy. He hasn't been wrestling that much in his recent fights. He just hasn't really been shooting. And if he doesn't shoot much in this fight, I feel like Yanez could start to take over with his hands. So give me Adrian Yanez here, just because I feel like Simon has not been wrestling as much. But other than that, I think this is going to be a really close fight.
All right, fight fans, that's what we got for you this week from Seattle. We will be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, bringing you any instant news and breaking analysis from this fight week that has happened, or any announcements that come from Dana White about fights in the future. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bear down, Arizona. Go Wildcats. Let's go.
Yankees.